Ryan's childhood sweetheart lost a game and was punished by having to do a pole dance. To avoid embarrassing her, Ryan turned to me. Emma does ballet. She can't do something this vulgar, he said. I tried to explain that I didn't know how either, but Ryan gave a cold smirk and exposed my secret in front of everyone. Didn't your mom raise you doing this kind of dance? Even if you haven't done it yourself, you've watched it enough to know how. I didn't cry or make a scene. I just gave him back the engagement ring. Our friends all said the joke had gone too far and told him to hurry and chase after me. Don't worry about her. She's just mad. With his temper, he'll come back within 10 minutes. Later, I heard that at Ryan's wedding there was no bride. He lost it completely by the end of the year. His friends threw a big party at a villa in the hills and sent a message in the group chat. Everyone, no excuses. You all have to be there tonight. Anyone who doesn't come will be broke next year. While I was still finishing up work, I called Ryan. He picked up quickly. It was quiet on his end. I said, "Did you see the message in the group chat? Jason and the guys are throwing something together." "Yeah, I saw it," Ryan replied. I looked at the time and said, "It's almost time, in about half an hour." Before I could finish, Ryan interrupted me. "You should take a cab over by yourself." "You're not going?" I asked. Honestly, if Ryan wasn't going, I didn't feel like going either. After all, those were all his friends. "Ryan, are you ready?" A soft, slightly whiny voice came through the phone. I didn't even need to guess. It had to be Emma. I couldn't think of anyone else. "You're with Emma?" I asked without thinking. "Yeah," Ryan answered. "I'm taking her there first. She has a lot of stuff, enough to fill the whole car. So it wasn't that he wasn't going, he just had to give Emma a ride first." While he was explaining, Emma's voice cut in again. "Is that you, June? Ryan, you're taking me, but not June? Are you trying to make her mad? If I had known, I would have learned to drive and gotten a license so I wouldn't trouble you." Ryan reminded her. "You forgot what the doctor said. You have a heart condition, you're not supposed to drive." "Oh, I know," she replied in a playful tone. "I was just saying it." Listening to her cute, coquettish voice, I could practically picture her sticking her tongue out at Ryan, and him looking at her with that usual helpless yet doting expression. Ryan and Emma had grown up together and were part of the same social circle. To outsiders, their interactions looked just like those of a real couple. Every time I felt jealous, Ryan would wave it off and say, "Don't be silly. I just see her as a little sister. Look at how dumb and carefree she acts every day, like a clueless kid. What kind of man would want that? I'd have to be starving." Emma's voice kept going. "It's fine if I don't get a license. I'll just keep hitching rides with you. As long as June isn't mad, I'm happy." Ryan laughed and said, "Do you think she's as petty as you? My girlfriend is the most generous, the prettiest, and the most understanding." The two of them just kept laughing and teasing each other like that. Ryan added, "Of course she is. My girlfriend is the most understanding, generous, and beautiful." But hearing Ryan praise me like that didn't make me feel happy at all. I quietly hung up the phone. There weren't many cabs willing to go out of town. It took me over an hour to get one, and I had to pay extra on top of that. My mood, already bad, only got worse. Still, I forced myself to calm down. By the time I arrived, the villa was already brightly lit. "Haha, Emma lost," someone shouted. "No fair. You all cheated. There's no way I lost," she whined. The door pushed open slightly, and laughter spilled out. I saw 4 or 5 people sitting around a table playing board games, with others standing around watching. Emma had apparently lost and was angrily pouting. "No way, this round doesn't count. Let's play again." Everyone there was rich or came from elite families. No one was going to indulge her just because she was Miss Emma. If you're going to play the game, then you have to be a good sport about it. If you're just going to cheat, what's the point of playing at all? Seeing that no one was letting her off the hook, Emma immediately pouted and turned to Ryan, who was sitting on the sofa. "Ryan, look at them. They're ganging up on me." The Carter family was at the top of the social circle, and as the heir to the Carter group, Ryan was someone no one dared to cross, especially when it came to Emma. Turning to him for help was the smartest move she could make. "Come on, Ryan, how many times is this now? You can't keep playing favorites like this," someone grumbled quietly. Apparently, this wasn't the first round Emma had lost. I silently clenched my hands into fists, remembering how not long ago, my younger brother had gotten into a physical altercation with the son of a university administrator. He was facing disciplinary action, and I had begged Ryan to speak up for him. But Ryan had said, people need to take responsibility for their own actions. Besides, I don't like mixing company with personal matters. Yet when it came to Emma, suddenly there was no such boundary. With just one word from him, who would dare risk offending the entire Carter group? Everyone was waiting to see how Ryan would respond. He glanced around the room before landing his gaze on Emma. She looked back at him, shaking her head over and over, mouthing something like, "Help me, Ryan." Ryan pressed his lips together and didn't say a word. No one could tell what he was thinking. But the next second, he checked the time on his watch and asked a question completely unrelated to the situation. "Where's my girlfriend? Hasn't she arrived yet?" A bitter taste welled up in my chest, but beneath it, a strange sweetness bubbled to the surface. "She's here. June's here." Someone spotted me and quickly called out, likely to earn favor with Ryan. The people around us all started greeting me cheerfully, calling me Mrs. Carter. But if Ryan hadn't mentioned me, none of them would have remembered I even existed. After all, I wasn't one of them. I was just a small-town writer. If it weren't for being Ryan's girlfriend, I could pray to the gods for 3 lifetimes and still never break into this world. Stepping onto a carpet softer than clouds, I had just reached Ryan when he smiled at me and said, "Honey, perfect timing. Emma does ballet, she doesn't know how to do pole dancing. Can you do it for her?" So Emma had lost the game, and the punishment was to pole dance. And Ryan, he wanted me to take her place. My hands clenched into fists, I looked at him in disbelief. "What did you just say?" Thinking I hadn't heard clearly, Ryan repeated casually, "You're just in time. Emma lost the game. Can you do the dance for her?" His nonchalant tone made my heart sink. "Wow, June, you look so elegant and classy. I never would have guessed you could do something like pole dancing. Guess you really can't judge a book by its cover," someone teased. "Well, thanks, in advance." While I stood there stunned, Emma slipped a bikini into my hand. When I looked up again, she was already sitting next to Ryan, wrapping her arm around his affectionately. She looked back at me and stuck her tongue out playfully, then turned to Ryan and said, "Ryan, be honest, did you fall for June because you saw her pole dancing? Is that what all you guys like? Should I learn it too?" Ryan turned to her, his expression serious. "No, you're not allowed to." "Why not?" Emma pouted. "June knows how to do it. Why can't I learn too? You're playing favorites. Be good, stop it. You two are different," he said softly, coaxing her. Then he turned back to me. Seeing I hadn't moved, he frowned. "Why are you still standing there? Go change already. Don't keep everyone waiting." Meeting his gaze, I tightened my grip around the bikini in my hand, then threw it aside. "Sorry to disappoint you," I said coldly. "I've never learned how to dance," I said. "You don't know how?" Ryan looked at me, puzzled. I kept a straight face and replied coldly, "No, I don't." Ryan frowned slightly, but I didn't give him a chance to respond. "I'm not feeling well. I'm leaving." Just as I turned to go, Emma's voice rang out behind me. "June, is it that you don't know how to dance, or you just don't want to? I get it now. You're still upset, aren't you? Upset that Ryan drove me here and not you, so you're refusing to help me?" She looked toward Ryan. "Ryan, I think June's mad at me. What should I do? Maybe let's just forget it. I don't want her to be unhappy because of me." As she spoke, Emma stood up and reached for the bikini I had thrown to the floor. But the moment she moved, Ryan pulled her back. "You're a ballet dancer. Your legs are precious. Don't mess around," he said. Then he turned to me again. "Didn't you once tell me your mom raised you doing this kind of dance? Even if you've never done it yourself, you must have picked it up from watching her." "Are you kidding me?" Someone snorted. No wonder she managed to reel in Mr. Carter. Seducing men must run in the family. Laughter broke out around us. Even though they tried to keep their voices down, the nasty comments still made it to my ears. My face went pale, and I clenched my fist so hard that my nails dug into my palms, barely holding myself back from slapping Ryan across the face. And he still didn't seem to realize what he had said wrong. "Go change already. Don't keep everyone waiting." I looked at the bikini on the floor, then stepped on it without hesitation. Ryan suddenly grabbed my arm. Who said you could leave? I let out a cold laugh. You expect me to stay here and let you humiliate me? He frowned. Humiliate you? What did I say that was so humiliating? After a moment of stunned silence, he added, You really think what I just said was insulting? June, come on, don't be so sensitive. I stared at him in disbelief. I'm sensitive? Ryan was already starting to lose patience. What else would you call it? It's just a pole dance. It's not like I'm asking you to sell your body. Do you really have to be this dramatic and make me look bad? At that moment, it felt like I didn't even know who he was anymore. I first met Ryan at a bar. I had no money back then and needed to pay my brother's tuition, so I took a part-time job as a waitress. On the day I met him, the pole dancer hadn't shown up, and the manager, panicking, told me to fill in. I don't know how, I said. It doesn't matter, he replied. You're pretty. Your body's great. Just go up there and move around a bit. Even though I was reluctant, he offered me more money. In the end, I changed into the outfit and stepped onto the stage. But I really didn't know how to dance. I awkwardly moved a bit, and the audience wasn't having it. Some even shouted, What the hell is this? Stop pretending. Show us something hot already. This ain't a convent. Don't play innocent. You're already out here selling yourself, so act like it. Keep this up, and we want a refund. The situation quickly got out of control. The manager blamed everything on me and threatened to dock my pay unless I kept dancing. I had just entered the workforce and didn't know how to defend myself. I was inexperienced, timid, and overwhelmed. My words got stuck in my throat and I started crying on stage. Then Ryan showed up. As the bar's biggest shareholder, he got a quick rundown of what had happened. He canceled the night's tabs for all the customers, and I thought that would be the end of it. But then he turned to the men who had insulted me and demanded they apologize. If they refused, he said he'd hire a lawyer and take them to court. Under his pressure, they apologized one by one. Afterward, he kept me behind. I thought he'd scold me or ask about what happened. But all he said was, Life is hard enough. You're already doing great. Go home and get some rest. In that moment, with just that one sentence, Ryan, the person himself, shone into my world like a beam of light. He seemed different from everyone else. He understood what it meant to struggle at the bottom just to survive. That was why, as we slowly got to know each other and fell in love, he began to learn more about my past. But I never imagined that the person who knew me best would one day wield the sharpest knife against me. Emma's voice snapped me out of my thoughts. Ryan, maybe we shouldn't pressure June anymore. It's just a dance, but it feels like we're all bullying her. No one's bullying her. If you're so confident, why don't you do it yourself? Someone snapped. Seeing me push back at Emma, Ryan grew displeased. Didn't I already say Emma is a ballet dancer? She can't do that kind of vulgar dance. His words made my heart sink completely. I nodded. Okay. Then, without hesitation, I took off the engagement ring on my finger and tossed it in front of him. Not long ago, during the proposal Ryan had planned from start to finish, he had placed that very ring on my hand. Back then, I had been moved to tears, believing that he and I would be together for the rest of our lives. I never thought I'd be giving it back so soon. Ryan looked stunned, staring at the ring lying on the floor. June, what's the meaning of this? I'm giving your engagement ring back, I said firmly, locking eyes with him. Ryan, let's break up. The second those words left my mouth, the entire atmosphere in the room froze. Ryan's face tensed up, veins bulging at his temple. Sensing the mood shift, the people who were just moments ago egging me on to pole dance quickly tried to smooth things over. Come on, June. Don't joke like that. Breaking up isn't something to take lightly. Yeah, June, Ryan was just messing with you. Don't take it to heart. June, Ryan loves you so much, he would never actually let you do something like that. Exactly, Ryan. That joke went too far. You better make it up to her. I knew these people. They weren't standing up for me because they cared. It was because if they witnessed Ryan getting dumped here and now, he might later take his anger out on them. Ryan's expression softened a little. Fine. It's just a dance. If you don't want to do it, then don't. I subtly avoided his hand and stared straight into his eyes. I'm not joking. The room fell into a brief, tense silence. Ryan looked at me, unmoving, for several seconds before his expression relaxed. He gave a half smile. June, Are you really breaking up with me? He said slowly. Do you even understand what you're doing? Do you realize that the only reason you're standing in this villa right now, speaking to me face to face, is because you're my girlfriend? With your background if it weren't for me, you wouldn't even qualify to step into this place. Let's not take this too far. He looked down on me from above, convinced I'd cave like always. I already gave you the ring back, I said, my voice steady. From today on, we're over, completely. I didn't stay another second. I turned around and walked out of the villa. As I stepped outside, I heard Ryan's friends behind me. Ryan, aren't you going after her? Yeah, man. I think June's really mad this time. Shouldn't you try to make it up to her? Ryan's voice came through, irritated. Make up for what? Her? Don't bother with her. With that temper of hers, she'll be back in 10 minutes. He was so sure. After all, in all our years together, every single fight ended with me being the one to give in first. I had a temper, and Ryan wasn't exactly patient either. But to keep our relationship going, I had crossed my own limits again and again for him. What I never expected was, it was because I kept giving in, again and again, that Ryan became so brazenly confident. I didn't want to hear another word from him. This place was remote, and no drivers had accepted my ride request for a long time. With no other option, I walked along the road, hoping to spot a passing car. It was late autumn, and the air outside was freezing. The villa had been warm with the heater blasting, so I wasn't wearing much when I left. A cold gust of wind blew through me, and I couldn't help but shiver. A dull ache stirred in my abdomen. By the time I finally got into a car, I was drenched in sweat from the pain. My vision darkened, and I was moments away from passing out. The driver panicked and rushed me to the hospital. When I opened my eyes again, I was already lying in a hospital bed. My younger brother sat beside me, looking like he was about to cry. Why didn't you tell me you were pregnant? He said, his voice trembling. If we'd gotten here any later, you might have lost the baby. I stared at him in confusion. Pregnant? What pregnancy? You didn't know, he asked. The doctor handed me the medical report. The tests show you're 2 months along, he said. It's freezing out today, and you weren't dressed for it. Plus your blood sugar dropped. You fainted right there in the car. You young people really need to take better care of yourselves. I took the report from him, and sure enough, it confirmed that there was a tiny life growing inside me. My brother looked at me. Aren't you happy? You've always said you wanted a baby. I slowly tightened my grip around the report and looked up at the doctor. Please help me schedule an abortion. The moment those words left my mouth, my brother jumped up, panicked. But you always said you wanted a child. Why don't you want it now? There was a time I really did want a child, because I had this naive idea that maybe my late mother would come back to me one day as my own baby. But now, I just shook my head at him. The doctor, clearly used to such requests, didn't ask any further. Once he left the room and it was just the two of us, I finally told my brother. I broke up with Ryan. Then I told him everything that had happened at the villa. He couldn't stay calm, his eyes turned red, and he immediately wanted to storm out and confront Ryan. Just recently, he had helped Ryan pick out the engagement ring behind my back, wanting to give me a surprise. He even recorded the entire proposal, secretly filming from the side, so I'd have the memory captured forever. I stopped him, not because I felt sorry for Ryan, but because someone like Ryan wasn't worth my brother getting into a fight over. The abortion was scheduled for 2 days later. My brother took a leave of absence from school to stay by my side, insisting on looking after me. At night, he rented a companion cot and slept outside the hospital room. On the day of the surgery, his face didn't look good. Give me your phone, he said. When I unlocked it, I finally saw the reason. In the 2 days I had been in the hospital, Ryan and Emma had already been seen together at multiple public events. The internet was buzzing with rumors that Emma was the one Ryan truly treasured, and that I, his fiancée, would soon be replaced. Emma had even posted on her social feed, I'm about to become Mrs. Carter. I hope certain people will learn to take a hint and stop showing up in front of Ryan or bothering us. Attached was a photo of a ring, the very same engagement ring I had thrown away, now worn on Emma's finger. I couldn't help but laugh. What's there to be upset about? My brother looked stunned. June, do you really not care at all? "What's the point in caring?" I said with a smile. "One piece of trash found another. They deserve each other." The abortion went smoothly. When I was wheeled out of the operating room, my brother walked alongside, sniffling and wiping his tears. He was in his 20s, but at that moment, he cried like a little boy. I found it funny, but I didn't have the strength to comfort him. Over the next few days, my brother ran around taking care of me non-stop. He even bought a whole pile of nutritional supplements and stacked them by my bed. The scene reminded me of our childhood. Whenever Mom brought home snacks, we'd fight over them. He could never win, so I'd lock all the goodies in my bedside cabinet. But every night, he'd sneak into my room to steal some, and I always left the cabinet open just enough for him to take whatever he wanted. The night before I was discharged, my brother suddenly called out to me at the doorway. "June? I can't sleep," he said. There was a rare shyness in his voice. "What is it?" "Nothing really," he murmured. "It's just, seeing you like this made me think of Mom. Do you think she'd be disappointed if she knew I got into a fight at school?" I didn't know how to respond. Not long ago, my usually polite and well-behaved brother had gotten into his first ever physical altercation at school. And the reason? The other kid insulted our mother. Our mom had been beautiful and resilient. When she was young, she was innocent, tricked by our scumbag father's sweet words. She gave birth to both me and my brother. But not long after my brother was born, our father was neck-deep in debt. Just when Mom was trying everything she could to pay off what he owed, he ran off with another woman and vanished, taking all our family's assets with him. Some people said he died. Others said he was living happily with that woman somewhere else. But Mom didn't have time to care. She had debts to repay and 2 children to raise. She was young and beautiful, but to survive, she took a job pole dancing, something that paid fast. A lot of people called her stupid for trusting a man so easily. Others told her to abandon us and send us to an orphanage. But Mom always just smiled and ignored them. She lived in the moment. Still, during our school years, people often mocked us for it, saying our whole family was dirty and refusing to associate with us. Whenever Mom heard about these things, she'd hug us tightly and apologize over and over again. But my brother and I both knew she had nothing to apologize for. Sadly, she never got to see us grow up. She passed away from overwork while I was in college. I looked at my brother and said, "How could Mom ever be mad at you? She'd be proud that you stood up for her." "So, what's your plan now?" he asked. I paused. Professor Sue reached out to me recently. He asked if I'd be interested in being his assistant. I've actually been thinking it over. But if I take the job, I'll have to go abroad with him for a few years. Professor Sue had been my college professor. He was now affiliated with my brother's school. Ever since college, he had always tried to mentor me. But back then, I wasn't interested in academia and turned down his offer. Even so, we'd kept in touch, and he'd always checked in on me. When my brother got into trouble recently, it was Professor Sue who stepped in to help. My brother immediately understood what I was thinking. "June, just go. Don't worry about me." "When are you leaving?" he asked. "The 1st of next month." I lowered my gaze. "Ryan, by next month, I'll be completely out of your life." After leaving the hospital, I urged my brother to return to school. I went back home alone to pack my things. Since I started dating Ryan, I had moved into his house. Though technically just one of his many properties, after living there for so many years, it had started to feel like home. What I didn't expect was that the moment I stepped inside, a piece of women's lingerie flew at me. I looked up and saw Emma, dressed in a pure white wedding gown, laughing as she ran down the stairs. When she saw me, she gave me a mocking smile, though her voice was sickeningly sweet. "June, you're back." Hearing that, Ryan also came down the stairs. "You're back," he said, like it was the most natural thing in the world. The tone in his voice sounded like I was a guest walking into his house. That night, nothing happened between us. Was Ryan really that certain I'd come back to him? Maybe seeing me return today confirmed it in his eyes. He probably thought this was my way of giving in. I didn't bother to explain. Instead, I turned to look at the wedding dress Emma was wearing. When Ryan noticed me staring at it, he cleared his throat awkwardly. "You weren't around, so I asked Emma to help sort through the dresses. You're a bit slimmer than she is. Since it fits her, you can just get a size smaller." Emma let out a playful giggle. Ah, stop. This is what you call curves, okay? June, since you're here, I'll take off the dress and give it to you right now. I cut her off. No need. I don't like secondhand things. Ryan's expression twitched slightly, but he didn't argue. Instead, he pulled out a list. You said you didn't want too many people at the wedding, so I had them make a guest list with just close friends and family. Take a look and let me know if there's anyone you'd like to add. Oh, and do you still have space for bridesmaids? Emma's never been one before. If there's an opening, maybe you could add her too. I looked at the list. Originally, Ryan and I had planned to get married 3 months after our engagement. If it hadn't been for everything between him and Emma, maybe I would have already given up the chance to study abroad with Professor Sue, waiting like a fool to become his bride. But now? I shook my head. Let her have it. If the wedding's already missing a bride, filling in another bridesmaid might as well balance things out. Ryan didn't expect me to agree so easily. He was momentarily stunned. You really mean it? I stepped past him and headed upstairs. Ryan tried to follow, but Emma stopped him. Ryan, come with me to pick out my bridesmaid dress. It's my first time being one. If you don't help me, what if I choose something too flashy and outshine June at her own wedding? Ryan eventually gave in to her coaxing. He reached out and tapped her on the nose. You. As the sound of their footsteps faded, I received a message from Emma. June, you really have some nerve. The wedding is right around the corner, and your fiancé is still dress shopping with another woman. Let me be honest with you. Ryan's been sick of you for a while. Could you stop being so shameless and clinging to him? Even if you marry him, so what? With just a little effort from me, he'll still come running back. Look at how easily he followed me today. I let out a quiet laugh. The fact that someone like Ryan still had women fighting over him was absurd. I didn't reply. My first instinct was to delete and block her, but as my eyes drifted to the guest list and the wedding schedule tucked underneath, a new idea quietly formed in my mind. On the day of the wedding, Ryan stood in front of the mirror, adjusting his suit, unable to hide his nerves. He had been preparing for this day for a long time. These past weeks had been hectic, balancing company matters while personally overseeing every detail of the wedding. He hadn't seen June in a while. He thought she would have reached out by now, but she hadn't made a move at all. Could she still be mad? Ryan was frustrated. In the years they had been together, they'd fought many times, big and small. Whenever they argued, June always caused a scene, and Ryan had his own way of dealing with it. He would just go cold and cut off all communication. After a while, she'd come back to him, teary-eyed and asking for forgiveness. That's what he had expected this time too. But ever since the fight at the villa, June hadn't contacted him once. Even when they ran into each other at home, her attitude remained cold and distant. No matter what he said, her responses were always indifferent, as if he didn't matter to her at all. Still, at least she seemed serious about the wedding. She had been involved in planning and hadn't raised any objections. That gave him some peace of mind. I hadn't been idle either. I had my own plans quietly in motion. Still, Ryan couldn't shake the unease in his chest. He couldn't put his finger on it, but something about me felt different. Mr. Carter, the guests are all waiting outside, someone reminded him. There's someone keeping an eye on Miss Shen. She's already got the veil on and is waiting. Ryan nodded slightly. As the officiant's voice rang out, he stood at the front, watching the woman in a veil slowly walking toward him. The wedding dress looked a little tight on her, which immediately sparked a sense of unease in him. Before she could fully approach, Ryan stepped forward and abruptly lifted the veil. What? It's you? Underneath the veil wasn't the face he had longed for, mine, but instead, a shy and blushing Emma. Ryan, she whispered, trying to act coy. Before the stunned guests could react, the massive screen at the front of the hall lit up. One by one, photos and video clips appeared, scenes of Ryan and Emma together. Holding hands, hugging, kissing in private, they played out clearly for everyone to see. And at the end, footage of Emma repeatedly taunting me appeared. June, do you even know your place? She sneered in the video. You're nothing but trash raised by a pole dancer. What makes you think you deserve Ryan? You think he really loves you? He's just playing with you. Someone like you, he'd never marry. And even if he did, so what? he could always divorce you. When you weren't around, Ryan and I were always together. He just didn't want to tell you. Emma's face turned pale instantly. Then, the video cut to a medical report, the ultrasound confirming my pregnancy, the child I had lost before it could be born. When the video ended, the entire room fell into a dead silence. Guests murmured in shock, some trembling, some glancing knowingly at the document. That's a prenatal checkup. Wait, was June pregnant? Ryan's temples twitched violently. With a roar of rage, he punched the screen, shattering the glass. Emma jumped and let out a terrified scream. Where's June? Ryan growled, his voice shaking with barely contained fury. Where did you take her? Ryan, please, let me explain. Emma cried. It wasn't on purpose. June said she didn't want to marry you and asked me to take her place. Ryan, I only did this because I love you so much. That June, she's just some low-class trash raised by a stripper. What does she have that I don't? If she hadn't clung to you for so long, we would have been together already. As she spoke, she wrapped her arms tightly around Ryan's waist. But he shoved her away with disgust. The force of his push sent her sprawling to the floor, her hair in disarray as she looked up at him in total disbelief. Ryan, what are you doing? Didn't you say that if June wasn't around, you would marry me? Well, she's gone now. I married you. Aren't you happy? Shut up, Ryan snapped. Emma, who had been wailing moments ago, instantly fell silent. Without sparing her another glance, Ryan pointed toward the door. Go find her. The people around him hesitated. What? Are you all deaf? He barked. Get the entire city moving if you have to. Bring June back to me. If you don't, all of you can get the hell out of my company. At his command, a crowd rushed out of the hall. The rest of the guests were quickly ushered out of the wedding venue. Even Emma was dragged away by Ryan's people. Just before she was pulled out, Ryan gave her a cold, dismissive glare from above. Take off that wedding dress, he ordered. That's June's. No other woman has the right to wear it. Emma's eyes widened in shock, but before she could speak, she was already being dragged into the dressing room. Once the venue quieted down, Ryan slumped to the floor and lit a cigarette. The screen had originally been set to play a slideshow of treasured memories from the years we spent together. Our first meeting, his confession, the first restaurant we went to as a couple, every anniversary we celebrated, each birthday, and his proposal. He had captured every moment with a camera. Ryan had even planned to compile all those beautiful memories into an album and give it to me as a gift on our wedding day. I always loved documenting the small, seemingly mundane details of life. As I once told him, I like to capture every beautiful moment. At first, Ryan thought it was silly, but before he realized it, he'd started carefully preparing that album, following the rhythm I had set. Now, sitting in the wreckage of the wedding, Ryan pulled out his phone and called me. But I had already blocked him. I had removed every possible way for him to contact me, his number, his email, even those of the people closest to him. If he wanted to find me now, he'd have to get his secretary to dig through records. Sitting on the ground in anguish, Ryan murmured, June. A sense of dread overcame him. For the first time, he truly felt I was gone for good. The scandal from Ryan's wedding quickly exploded online. After all, he was the sole heir to the Carter Group, and anything he did stirred up massive waves. But this time, it wasn't just gossip. A video surfaced of his public apology. Baby, I was wrong. I truly know I was wrong. I won't ask for forgiveness. Just, please, let me see you one more time. If you're willing to see me, I'm willing to give you all of my shares in the Carter Group. The clip went viral, even internationally. After all, obtaining Ryan Carter's shares meant obtaining the entire Carter Group. Many in the business world called him insane. Others began digging into our past, eager to know what kind of woman had been able to earn the entire empire through a relationship. I only knew about the online frenzy because my brother called me. June, you have no idea. It's all over school. Ryan even came looking for me a few times. But don't worry, I haven't told him anything. He can't get anything out of me. I mumbled a short reply and hung up. I knew in my heart that no matter how much my brother tried to protect me, with Ryan's resources and connections, it was only a matter of time before he found me overseas. So when I said goodbye to Professor Sue and saw Ryan standing at the street corner, I wasn't surprised at all. June. His voice was hoarse, like he'd been holding back tears for days. The sound of it made me sick to my stomach. I frowned and pushed him away. "Don't come near me." He froze for a second, then quickly stepped forward, thinking I was still pregnant. "You're pregnant. You need to be resting. Why are you running around outside? Come back home with me. Let's go back and have the wedding. I've hired the best doctor for you. Just stay home and take care of yourself, okay?" I ignored him and walked straight past. Flustered, Ryan caught up again. "June, don't be like this. I know I messed up. I'm sorry. Whatever you want, I'll do it. Just, you're still carrying the baby. If you stay angry like this, it's bad for the baby too. Please, for the baby's sake, don't stay mad at me." At those words, I let out a cold laugh. Ryan saw my smile and thought I was softening. He eagerly moved closer. "Baby," I cut him off. "Ryan, what are you pretending for? The baby, our baby, was gone long ago. After everything you did to humiliate me at the villa, did you really think I'd still be carrying your child and dreaming of a perfect life together? Keep dreaming. I would never let my child be born with a disgusting father like you." Ryan stared at me, stunned. "You mean, our baby is gone?" I met his eyes with a blank expression. "If you don't believe me, go back to the hospital and check for yourself." Ryan stood frozen in place, completely speechless. I tried to leave, but he suddenly grabbed my wrist. Ryan shook his head in disbelief. "No, you're lying to me. Baby, you always said you wanted a child with me. We finally had one. How could you possibly get rid of it?" "I don't believe you. You can hit me, curse me, do whatever you want. Just don't lie to me about the baby." I yanked my arm free with disgust. "Why would I bother lying to you? If you don't believe me, have your secretary look it up." As soon as I said that, it was like lightning struck him. Ryan collapsed onto the ground, completely shattered. I walked past him, ready to leave, when I heard his hoarse voice behind me. "Why, I was his father. Why didn't you talk to me first? How could you be so cruel and take him away without even telling me?" I paused and said coldly, "Back when you stood next to Emma and used pole dancing to humiliate me, did it never cross your mind that this might be the outcome?" That night, Ryan waited under my apartment building for hours. I didn't even look at him kindly. I called the police. When they took him away, he didn't come looking for me for a long time. Later, my brother told me Ryan had returned home and gone straight to him, grilling him for any news about me. Then he went to the hospital to check the records and confirmed that I really had the abortion. That was when he finally snapped. Because of the scandal and negative press he brought to the company, Carter Group's stock plummeted. The board held an emergency meeting and stripped Ryan of all control. Even the Carter family disowned him and kicked him out. Around that time, Emma, pregnant and determined, insisted on marrying him. Ryan agreed. But at their wedding, in front of all the guests, Ryan pushed her off the upper floor. Emma died on the spot. Ryan was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. He was sentenced to death. My brother was the one who told me all this. After I had fully settled abroad, I helped my brother apply for a student visa. By the time his study program ended, Professor Su's research had also concluded. The three of us planned to return to China together. During Lunar New Year, we gathered in the kitchen and made a clear broth hot pot, our mother's favorite. The steam rising from the pot blurred our eyes, and my brother and I sat there silently, tears brimming.